Hello my friends, and welcome to another episode of Time Between Times. The time for stories. We hope you're all enjoying these videos, and I've had some fantastic feedback, so keep that coming. Thank you very much. Also, if there's anything you'd like to see in the future, please let me know. This week, I've had a great time. If you are listening to it this week, which is in August 2020, I have now recorded a podcast with the Ghosts and Folklore of Wales podcast with my good friend Rhys. You can listen to that podcast very shortly, and it will have this tale in it, which is one I'm going to tell you very shortly. This is one of my favourite tales. It really is. It's quite a scary one, and maybe one that you wouldn't want to listen to just before you go to bed, but well worth listening to. One of the great stories of Wales. So, without further ado, let us go to the time between times. The time when it is neither night nor day, but the sun has gone and the sky is grey. The time when the veil between our world and the other world is wafer thin. So thin that we can reach out with our hand and reach into the realm of fairies. And for a few moments, they can reach into our realm and affect our day-to-day happenings. The Tylwyth Teg, ghosts, spirits, lights in the sky, the Gwyllgi, Gwrach a Ribem, and many other things. But tonight, I'm going to tell you a tale that happened in a place far away from here, in North Wales, Gogledd Cymru, a place called Nant Gwrthein. Now, if anyone's been to Nant Gwrthein, it hangs on the edge of a precipice at the edge of Wales. Waves smashing against the rocks. And there, many years ago, where the great king, Henry, the 8th of his name, decided to dissolve the monasteries, for he wanted to marry his lover Anne Boleyn. Of course, there was a financial element in that, and all over Britain, his soldiers and his servants, acting under Thomas Cromwell, went to all the abbeys and the monasteries and started to pull apart all the treasures. Monks were thrown out into the streets unable to work, and the monasteries that have run large swathes of land, especially near Nant Gwrthein, were left to ruin. At that time, when Henry's soldiers came and they dragged the monks out, the people of Nant Gwrthein gathered around them, but not one of them decided to help the monks as they screamed as their livelihoods were taken away. And Henry's men took all their treasures, placed them on carts and rode them out. Some of the monks were whipped and made to run away from where they had spent the rest of their lives. And all the townsfolk just watched them and did nothing to interfere. One of the monks turned to the townsfolk as he was being dragged away on a cart and shouted, "A curse upon you! A curse upon you! May nobody in this town ever have another child. That is the curse I place upon you, that this town will die out, as no one will ever give birth to a baby again." At the time, the people thought nothing of it. What are the rantings of a madman taken away as everything he owned was thrown to the sea? But a few years later, something happened that came back to haunt the people of Nant Gwrthein. Many years passed, and coincidentally, no children were born in Nant Gwrthein. However, living there were two young people who were very much in love. Their names were Rhys and Meinir. Two young people from Nant Gwrthein who met every night on the cliff top overlooking the sea. There they would sit under the boughs of an old hollow oak tree, hold hands and just enjoy each other's company. They would tell stories, they would sing songs, and they would talk about all the things they would do in the future as they sat there, their backs against the cold oak, looking far out to sea, far from Wales. They were very much in love. and Rhys and Meinir decided to marry. Rhys had a surprise for Meinir, and the night before the wedding, he asked her to meet him at the old oak. When she came up the long, winding path towards the oak tree, he stood blocking it with his body, and as she approached, he moved to the side, and carved upon the tree was a love heart with an arrow put through it. And carved on the tree were the words, Rhys loves Meinir. He hoped that his wife-to-be would be delighted that he had taken the time to come up there with his knife and slowly carve out the words. But she was horrified. Rhys, she said, we are not yet married. This will put more of a curse on us. Why are you saying this now before we are married? My love, fear not. No one can stop our wedding now. But I wish you had not done that. I wish you had not shown that to the Tylwyth Teg, to the gods, whatever. I wish that you had not brought this upon us. Be still, my love. Tomorrow we marry. Nobody can stop that now. And the next day was, in truth, that day. They gathered at the old chapel in the middle of the town, ready for the wedding. And it was tradition in those days that on the day of a wedding, the bride-to-be would dress in her wedding finery and run out and hide. And the groom and the groomsman would spend time trying to hunt her down and find her, bringing her back to the altar for the wedding ceremony. And this, there was no exception. Meinir blew a kiss to Rhys and ran off, her bright white wedding gown trailing behind her as she ran through the streets and away from the chapel. Rhys and his groomsmen drank a few pints of beer and then decided to give chase. They searched all around the chapel and could not find her. They searched by the schoolyard and could not find her. They searched around the village streets and down to the beach and could not find her. They grew frustrated, for soon the fun was gone, and Meinir had found somewhere too good to hide. But Rhys grew concerned, and by the time between times, and his wife had not been found, his heart started to beat faster. He began to worry. He began to fret that maybe something had happened, just as Meinir had thought. His groomsmen went out into the countryside, calling, Meinir, Meinir, calling over the fields into the forest, down by the beach. Still she could not be found. The days turned to weeks. The weeks turned to months. The months turned to a whole year. And one by one, Rhys's groomsmen wandered away, leaving just the groom-to-be to search for his wife. When he walked down the street, the doors would close and all the people would mutter that there was the cursed groom whose wife had left him on their wedding day. What was the story that caused her to disappear, caused her to vanish, caused her to run away? Nobody knew. But Rhys did not give up hope and spent all his waking hours searching around for his wife and calling, Meinir, Meinir, Meinir. But she never did answer. Years passed, and still he walked, until one night, when the night was so black you could hardly see your hand in front of your face, Rhys made his way up to the old oak, where he would run his hand over the carving inside, and regret ever having done it. On this night the rain started. First of all, tip-tip-tapping on the tree, but before long becoming louder and louder until it beat upon its brows like drums, and then the thunder started, far away, distant rumbling, until boom, boom, it felt like the gods were throwing boulders in the sky, and then lightning started, first off far-off flashes, but coming closer and closer until it lit up the sky by Nant Gwrthauyn like it was day. And Rhys sat and took cover under the tree, rocking back and forth and thinking of what could have been, until late in the night, a huge bolt of lightning shot from the sky and hit the tree with a bang, breaking it asunder. Rhys ran away as its boughs and branches caught fire. But as he turned around, he saw something in the tree that caused his heart to skip several beats. For as the tree had split apart, there in the middle, stuck in the great oak that had been there for hundreds of years and hollow, there was a skeleton of a bride, flowers now dead in her long dank hair, her wedding gown barely clinging on to its skeletal frame, and there in the burning tree was Meinir. Rhys fell to his knees and wept and wept and wept, then lay on the ground and died of a broken heart. It seems that on the wedding day, Meinir had decided to hide in the tree, but she must have become stuck. And slowly she grew weaker and weaker until she died in the old oak at Nant Gwrthein. Today the village still stands, although it was empty for many years as the curse took hold. Now it's a Welsh language centre. The people come from all over Britain to learn about the history and the language of Wales. But the old oak still stands, or part of it at least, and an old monument to Rhys and Meinir, the doomed lovers of Nant Gwrthein. It is said that on the time between times, the time when it is neither night nor day, but the sun has gone and the sky is grey, if you look on the cliff faces above the village, you will see the wandering frame and fold and figure of a ghostly Rhys as he still searches for his bride-to-be, Meinir. Many have seen him, but few speak of it, though his legend is known all over Wales. And that, my friends, is the story of Rhys and Meinir, the doomed lovers of Nant Gwrthein. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you ever so much for joining me here at the time between times. I hope that you enjoy these tales, and they are tales for the telling. I have no ownership of them, but we all have ownership of them. So please tell them to your family, your friends, so that these tales may live on, not just now, but far into the future. If you enjoyed today's tale, please subscribe and give me a little thumbs up. Even leave a comment at the bottom. Makes me know that you're there, that I'm just not talking to myself on a screen, and my ghost, Richard, sits behind me. Any requests for further tales, please leave a message. And please keep an eye on my Twitter, Owen Staton, or Owen S. Griffiths, as it is on Twitter, don't ask. And you will find out about future stories and performances when all this dark COVID time passes. I wish you all the best. Please stay safe. Enjoy the stories. Nos da. Diolch yn fawr.